Welcome to the Burton Ballers. Ain't got no time for no stallers, yeah.
We are the risers, we're not the fallers. Our channel is growing wider and taller.
Yeah, we're here to give you the news about your dear beloved Blues, yeah.
So if you like this YouTube channel, like, subscribe and turn on that bell.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of Burton Ballers. And this is part 2 of the video that I'm doing to celebrate Black History Month. So in this video, I'm going to be naming my all-time favourite Chelsea Black 11. So they may not be the best Chelsea 11, but they are my favourites for some personal reasons why that I've selected these guys as my all-time favourite 11. But before I get into this video, guys, you know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications so you'll be notified, guys, every time we make a new video. So, in goal, I'm going to be having Edouard Mendy. 2 reasons. First, because he's the only black goalkeeper to have represented Chelsea. Some people may say, what about black men? What about Nicholas Ty? Yes, they were in our youth setup, but they never actually represented Chelsea in a first team match. The closest a black goalkeeper did to doing that was when Blackman made the bench. And the other reason is because he has replaced Kepa in goal. So, after a disaster class from Kepa all last season, and continuing on to this season, anyone who came in to replace Kepa is going to be a favourite in my book. So, Edouard Mendy, goalkeeper for me. Right back now, I'm going to be choosing Frank Sinclair. Frank Sinclair because of what he had to endure in his career as a Chelsea player. He was one of the pioneers for black players in Chelsea. Obviously, Paul Canoville, who I'll go on to talk about later, was the main man. But then he paved the way for others like Frank Sinclair to get into the team. So Frank Sinclair came into the team as a right back, stroke centre back, and he gave his all for the team. You know, I wouldn't say he's the greatest right back, but what he did, he had heart, he had guts, determination, and I remember when I first used to go to Stamford Bridge, there's the likes of Sinclair, Newton, those players, Canoville that I used to watch play. And in the programme notes one day, Ken Bates wrote, because at that time, we started to have about 3 or 4 black players playing regularly for Chelsea, and we had a hardcore National Front, or BNP as you call them now, supporters who used to come and supports in quote unquote Chelsea. And these guys, what they used to do, they used to look at the programme notes before the game started, and if there was a black player's name on the programme in the first team, they would not come and watch the match. So Ken Bates addressed these people and he says, you're not the sort of people I want in our club anyway, so good riddance to you. And that's what I echo those same sentiments as well. So, and it was people, as I said, Frank Sinclair paved the way. He made it comfortable for me to go to matches, because if I knew that these racist guys weren't going to come to the match when black players were in the side, I felt more comfortable going to those games. I didn't feel threatened when going to the game. I was one of the early black supporters actually to go and watch Chelsea. And then now that Ken Bates introduced these sort of measures and more blacks came into the side, you saw more and more black supporters come in to support the club. At left back, I'm having Andy Myers for 2 reasons. He had got legendary status. Apparently, he put Roy Keane in his place once in the changing room at Chelsea. There was a little argument that happened, and in the tunnel, I think it may have been, and let's put it this way, Roy Keane got the worst of it. So we used to call Andy Myers Tyson, and for he was a big, strong, strapping lad. And the other reason I'm picking him as one of my favourites is because back in the days when I used to go out to few clubs and for drinks, etc. I actually bumped into Andy Myers one day, got talking to him. He used to go out with a guy called go around with a guy called Andy Impey, who was a Queen's Park Rangers player at the time. Those 2 used to hang out together. I met them at a club one day, got talking to them, and since then we sort of built up a relationship. He offered to buy me drinks at the time. We used to talk football. Really nice, down-to-earth guy, and for that reason, yeah, Andy Myers is my left back. First centre back, is Paul Elliott. He's another one I've had the pleasure of meeting on a couple of occasions. Him and his brother, we spoke football a lot. Another guy, down to earth, very articulate. He's very vocal on the sort of race relations as well, and he's done a lot in and out of football. He used to be nicknamed Mr. Jamaica at Chelsea. His career was cut short tragically by injury, bad knee injury, but he was a captain at Chelsea as well, and he was a superstar. So it wasn't only that the fact he was black; he was good. He was a very good centre back for Chelsea, wholehearted, fully committed, and he was one who, I think, had he stayed at Chelsea, Chelsea may have won something a bit earlier with his defence, not only his defence but his leadership qualities as well. And my other centre back is Ken Moncao. There's a theme going on here again. He's somebody I've met, and with Ken Moncao, I met him at a Player of the Year Awards once, the after party. We got talking about tactics in Chelsea, and we were speaking for a good half an hour about football. He was another down-to-earth, easy to talk to guy, and no hairs and graces about him. And yeah, it was just good to have a nice chat with a fellow ex-Chelsea professional just about the game, the love of football. In midfield now, going to midfield, I'm going for Eddie Newton. I haven't actually met Eddie, but Eddie Newton, similar journey to Frank Sinclair, came in. They used to call them the Blues Brothers. They came into Chelsea as just after the Paul Canoville era, as young black players coming into the team. That's when a few came through as well. And Steady Eddie, as I used to call him, scored. I was at the FA Cup final actually in 1997 when he scored the second goal in our 2-0 victory over Middlesbrough, and it was such a joyous occasion seeing him as an homegrown and how much it meant to him scoring that goal in the FA Cup, and that completed his journey because in 1994 he gave away one of the penalties when we got beat 4-0 by Manchester United in the FA Cup. Other midfield there I'm going for is Michael Essien. Not met him, but he's kind of met him by association, if you know what I mean. One of my nieces was in a close relationship with him. It could have gone somewhere apparently, but then he went off to America to play football in America, so nothing actually materialised, and unfortunately I didn't get to meet him on this occasion. And someone else I have met, and this is the first time I've been in awe of a footballer, because this guy has so much presence. I'm like 6'1", this guy's 6'3", big, strong, strapping lad, and it's Ruud Gullit. Ruud Gullit, when he first came to Chelsea, he was like a superstar. And for me to bump into him when I was shopping once in Harvey Nichols, I bumped into Ruud Gullit. He was with Johan Cruyff's daughter. I think her name was Estelle. They were together, they're both together, and I met him and I was just awestruck. I thought, Ruud Gullit. But when I went over there to say hi, he was very calm, very relaxed, and he had, that smile he has, that reassuring smile that sort of calms you down. So we had a little talk with him. At the time, I was reading his autobiography. I told him that I was reading his autobiography, and so we exchanged a few pleasantries. But when he came to Chelsea, the whole landscape of Chelsea changed. Chelsea wouldn't be the team they are now without Ruud Gullit. Ruud Gullit started that trend of good players coming to Chelsea. So yeah, that's why he gets in as one of my favourites. So up top now in a 4-3-3 formation. I'd just like to add actually with the Ruud Gullit thing, again, I haven't got a photograph with him or any of the players that I've mentioned before him, no photos with them. That's because back then we didn't have the mobile phones, didn't have like camera phones or anything like that, so we couldn't just, like we can do now, take a selfie with them, because that was in the late 80s when mobiles weren't a thing then. So there's a guy called Frank Khalid who's on Twitter, Chelsea Twitter, and he's got pictures with everyone. If it was around then, I could have posted pictures of all these players now. So yeah, I'll just leave it all to him to take all these selfies with these players. Right, so moving into attack now. In attack, we have, first one is the man himself, and I've got a picture of him, and I'll show it to you now, and that's Didier Drogba. Again, he's another one I met at a Player of the Year Awards. We joked around a bit because I thought he was bigger than what he was actually, because I stood up to him. I'm actually a little bit taller than him. So I said, oh, Drogba, I thought you're bigger than that, mate. And he gave me a little playful punch. This was just before the Champions League final, actually. So, you know, another nice guy. Really, you know what he's like. He's just down to earth again. Pleasant, good, nice smile. I wished him luck in the Champions League, and he said, don't worry, we'll bring it home for you. He was true to his word, because he did bring it home for us. And then Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi, not met him, but again, by association, I'd say so, because he used to go to a school called Whitgift, which is just 5 minutes drive from where I live in Croydon. And also, he actually used to play for a Mauritian side, whom a good friend of mine played for. So yeah, so him and his older brother used to play in that Mauritian side together. So I didn't know it until last year, actually, or the year before, when I went to a function with one of my Mauritian friend. He said, yeah, I used to play football with Callum Hudson-Odoi and his brother. I think his brother's name is Bradley. So yeah, so that's why he gets in. And finally, it's got to be Paul Canoville. Paul Canoville was the man who paved the way for all these, not only black players to play for Chelsea, but black supporters to come and watch Chelsea as well, because he had to endure a lot. I've done a video on him before, so you can go back and look at that one. But Paul Canoville, I'd like to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much, mate, for all you've done for Chelsea Football Club. You know, he's had to, all the racism that he had to put up with from his own supporters, as well as supporters from outside. But he was strong enough in character to withhold all of that. So he fought back, scored a hat-trick. I remember that was one of the proudest moments when he scored a hat-trick. Was it Swansea or Cambridge? I can't remember which team it was, but I remember buying every single paper that day because Paul Canoville scored a hat-trick. I remember the game against Sheffield Wednesday when we were 3-0 down. He came back and changed that game. And so I've got lots of fun moments with Canoville, and I'm so proud to have first black player ever playing for Chelsea, because I used to get a lot of stick from school. They're saying, why are you supporting that team? That team's got all the racist supporters. What are you doing supporting them? Support someone else. But I said, no, this is the team that I've fallen in love with. I'm not going to let anybody drive me away from that club. I'm going to stay true to myself. They'll win. I said, if I walked away from Chelsea, the racists are going to win. So I'm not going to allow them to win. I'm going to stay with this club because I supported them. And now, what we're seeing now is a multicultural club. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Asian, or whatever. You're all blue. You're all Chelsea supporters, and that's what I like about Chelsea now. That it's just all-encompassing of any race now. So that's what I like to see in football going forward. So, guys, that's the end of my video for Black History Month. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications so you'll be notified every time I make a video. Until then, take care.